acts according to his own nature. What can restraint do? In spite of acquisition of knowledge, what he is saying is, in spite of acquisition of knowledge and wanting to change, grow, evolve, in spite of all these, your nature continues to function. What can restraint do? Meaning, restraint can't do anything. Or how much ever you try to restrain, it keeps coming back. More you try to restrain, more it comes back. Like, more you don't want to get angry, more the anger comes. For positive emotions, it doesn't work like this. More you want to be charitable, it's not that much more charitable you want to become. So, this seems to work only for this seems to work only for the negative emotions. What can restraint do? He is saying, he is not asking what can restraint do. He is saying restraint will not be able to do anything, because first thing, a human being acts according to his nature. A human being acts according to his nature. Actions, emotions, thoughts and ideas comprises one's nature. The way of action, the set of emotions, and the way in which you think. This comprises your nature. From these three, sometimes you can restrain on action. Sometimes you can restrain on action. Emotions surface. Forcefully you can subside your emotions and actions. But the way you think keeps manifesting. So, in and through all these, what he is saying is, the human nature keeps manifesting. Having said this, it looks like a man has no choice at all, as though he can't evolve at all, he can't grow at all. Looks like that. The right way of understanding this verse is, there will be a time gap between knowledge and wisdom. In the interim period, you ought not to get disillusioned about the knowledge and stop the efforts. Again, there will be a gap between knowledge and wisdom. It's a gap, and what will be the longevity of that gap? We don't know. Half a day, half a janma, or many janmas, we really don't. There is a gap between knowledge and wisdom. In the interim period, where this gap is there, you ought not to get disillusioned about the knowledge and stop the efforts. It is the disillusionment about the knowledge that makes you to lose Shraddha and carp at the knowledge? The previous two verses he said, those who have Shraddha, those, if you lack Shraddha, you will not gain. Now he is explaining what is it that makes you to lose that Shraddha. What is it that makes you to carp at this knowledge? The disillusionment. What is the disillusionment? But looks like looks like all this will not work. Might as well try some other method. Might as well try some other method. Mere knowledge is not the cause of living those principles in life. Mere Shravana, mere acquisition of knowledge will not automatically result in you living it, practicing it. What people misunderstand is, I have heard it, I have understood it, therefore it should come into practice also. No. You have only heard it. You have only memorized it. Practicing is a completely different exercise altogether. How much ever you hear, how much ever you listen, how much ever you can give a lecture to others also. You can give a discourse to others also. But your vasanas will continue to express. But we believe that I have heard it, I have understood it, I am also inspired by it, but transformation is not taking place. How long to keep listening? When will the transformation happen? Transformation happens only when the knowledge convinces you that raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes, desires ought to be eliminated. As long as you are not convinced about that, knowledge will not bring about a transformation. That's why he is going to say, the next few verses, he is going to say how these likes and dislikes are the enemies. If you want to know the definition of the mind, he is going to give in the next few verses. Before that, he is saying, you being a victim of this, and you are not working in the direction of eliminating the desires, likes and dislikes, knowledge will not bring about a transformation. What people do is, they are not convinced about eliminating likes and dislikes. They are not convinced about eliminating the desires. They want to do so many other things and keep postponing the likes and dislikes elimination. But the last step we will keep. Rest of the other things we will do now. We will do first. It doesn't work. You will have so much of knowledge, you will be so frustrated having that knowledge because you will not be able to live it, practice it. Or you have to delude yourself that you are practicing it. Or you have to believe, or I have to brainwash myself into believing that I am practicing it, I am living it. But the nature keeps And nature keeps manifesting. What is your nature? The combination of actions, feelings and thoughts. That keeps helplessly manifesting, and the human being seems to be a victim of this manifestation. So what does one do? What can restrain? What can restraint do? Almost like saying, don't practice restraint. Otherwise, he is not saying go all out and express. He is not saying that also. He is only saying restraint minus the right understanding will not work. What is the restraint? Having understood likes and dislikes as the danger. The books, the guru can give you information, knowledge. He cannot give you, the books cannot give you wisdom. The books can give you wisdom, not buy all the books and instead of taking loans to buy a house, we'll say take loans to buy all the books. If books can give you, if books can give you wisdom, they can only give you knowledge. Knowledge undigested becomes a burden to you, and it becomes a burden to the others. Most of the time it becomes a burden to the others. First step. Second is it will become a burden to you. That is why the indication. The moment you start gaining this knowledge, coming for this knowledge, trying to understand this knowledge, your environment around you will be so agitated. Everybody around you will be so agitated, so disturbed. And you go back thinking you are evolving, that's why all this is happening. No. They are agitated because of what? Your undigested knowledge is affecting them. Your undigested knowledge has started to affect them. How it affects them? How it affects them? Number one, you offload everything on them. Number two, this knowledge becomes a yardstick to judge others, to assess others. So all the relationships, all those who you start relating to, you will start assessing them through this knowledge. As a result of which they say, the கிளாஸுக்கெல்லாம் வரதுக்கு முன்னாடி கொஞ்சம் மோசமா தான் சார் இருந்தாரு, ரொம்ப ஜாஸ்தியாச்சு. And it is not true. Why? In this interim period, knowledge, when it is not digested, it turns into a burden to the others first, and then it will turn into a burden to your own self. When it will turn to a burden into your own self is, you know that after a while you suddenly realize you are exactly the same. Nothing has changed in you. You feel disillusion. And when you feel disillusion, what will you do? You stop. And when you stop, you have to blame you will not say, I am stopping because of my inability. You have to say, I stop because knowledge is not working. I stop because knowledge is not working. Exactly like this. Halfway through you stop the medication because medication is not working, sir. So I should try some other. I should try something else which will work. So by the time you would have tried 15 different kind of medicines and diseases would have become aggravated. Diseases won't get cured, it gets aggravated. So in the interim period, what you have to do? In the interim period, you have to continue the efforts. This efforts that you continue determines the longevity of the interim period. We say there is a gap. Now, the next question is, what is the duration of that gap? 6 months, 6 years, 60 years. What is the duration? That we can never say. It all depends upon the Shraddha. So first he says Shraddha, and he tells you now what takes the Shraddha away. What is it that takes the Shraddha away? There is an expectation of transformation to happen quickly. Understand it like this. You have been having a nature for, we really do not know how many janmas. Now forget about other janmas. That is really vague. We really don't know whether there is Janma or not. Forget about that. Even in this Janma itself, what is the long association with your nature versus the effort you put to get out of it? It is not commensurate. That is why the nature keeps manifesting. On top of it, you strengthen that nature by unintelligent restraint. By unintelligent restraint, you strengthen your nature. How it works is, say no to it, the mind gets attracted to it. For the mind to get attracted to anything, simply say no, don't do it. Tell the child don't do it. It gets attracted into it. We have been having a nature, and by the wrong restraint, by the wrong practice of restraint, there is a suffocation. And the mind is waiting to, and the mind is waiting to rebel. Mind is waiting to get suffocated. The mind is waiting to explore. So we have been saying no, unintelligently. Not realizing that you are a victim of your nature, because that nature has likes and dislikes at the root. Not wanting to eliminate the likes and dislikes, but wanting to control the manifestations of actions and emotions, you forcefully restrain. How you forcefully restrain? Various ways. When I say various ways, fundamentally it's only 2-3 ways. False are helpless they are. Now you will get more irritated at them. First thing that people try is they take the route of affection and sympathy. First thing they try is they take the route of affection and sympathy. What is the root of affection and sympathy? Correct. They are helpless. What will they? What can they do? Next day you see them, your anger levels will be more. Third day you see them, you want to explore. 30th day, cut the umbilical cord, cut the very association itself. This is unintelligent way of restraint. This is unintelligent way of exercising restraint. The first route, unintelligent, is they take to the route of sympathy, love, whatever word you want to use, you use. They take an emotional route. Second way of unintelligent restraint is, the more environmental and sir, very conducive to do tapas. Therefore, get into it so that I get an opportunity to do tapas. You get more. Second day you see them, you get more. You get more irritated, you get more frustrated. The second way of practicing unintelligent restraint is, you think, these are all the people, these are all the environment that is conducive to do. Then everything is so nice around me, sir. No opportunity to practice all this. Therefore, do this, sir. Again, it doesn't work. Another way in which people practice unintelligent restraint is, they forcefully, unnaturally bring in higher values to themselves. Wanting to practice higher values, they unintelligently restrain. What is intelligent restraint? You have to restrain. You have to practice restraint. From unintelligent restraint, you have to practice intelligent restraint. What is the intelligent restraint? What is the intelligent restraint? Knowledge doesn't seem to work because you have not yet practicing the core of the knowledge. You are only dabbling, you are only meandering on the superficial layers of the knowledge. You are only still on the periphery of the knowledge. You have not yet moved into the core. Every time that this interim period, your nature is helplessly manifesting, what is intelligent restraint is an understanding that you have not yet gone into you have not yet moved into the core. You are still dealing with the periphery, the surface. Once you get to the core of it, it starts. Once you start getting into the core of it, it starts working. And what is getting into the core of it? You will be frustrated hearing this. This chapter and the next chapter is going to say the same thing. You will be frustrated listening to this. Likes and dislikes are the enemies. Why they are the enemies? Because These likes and dislikes makes you, what likes and dislikes does to you? One word. Huh? What likes and dislikes does to you? What is it that is so dangerous in them that they are saying? Eliminate them, eliminate them. What likes and dislikes does to you? Huh? Bondage. Huh? Agitations. Huh? Increases the desire. Huh?
Will not let us move.
Will not let you move. What is wrong with likes and dislikes? At the core, that they are saying, you need to move out, you need to move out. What do they do? Huh? Attachment.
You move over to
You move away from your goal.
slavery.
Huh?
Slavery.
Slavery. Likes and dislikes at the core makes you selfish and self-centered. It is the selfish and self-centeredness causes attachments, agitations, slavery. All that is correct. That is still on the periphery of the knowledge. This is what I meant by the periphery. What is the core? What likes and dislikes does to you? At this point only we get disconnected from knowledge. We say, no, likes and dislikes and all doesn't make a person selfish. No, sir. Selfishness is different. Likes and dislikes is different. I will get rid of my selfishness, but likes and dislikes? I will. We do not know. We have not yet penetrated enough to understand. Likes and dislikes at the core turns you, keeps you selfish and self-centered. A selfish person will be an agitated person. A selfish person will have attachments. That is why in action the solution that he gives is non-attachment. Na yajna karma. For the likes and dislikes turns you selfish. Now work backwards. The interim gap is still there is because you are yet to get the reflection. You are yet to get convinced that likes and dislikes will keep you. As long as you have likes and dislikes, it will keep you
Selfish.
huh? It will keep you selfish and self-centered. But unselfish desires not less. Unselfish is there is the word
Selfish.
selfish. Refined selfishness is unselfishness. Refined selfishness, that's all. And then one thing is to say, one thing is directly to say you are a fool. Another thing is to say, I think understanding all the facts is saying the correct. What you are saying is the same thing. But then the refinement makes you to believe that. Are you able to follow? The refinement makes you to believe that you are changing and growing. Yeah? Still that likes and dislikes is there and you are unintelligently restraining from it. It will not work because your nature keeps manifesting. So, at the core, what is he trying to say? What is the knowledge trying to tell us? Which is almost impossible to get convinced. Likes and dislikes keeps you selfish and self-centered. Unselfishness is Refined selfishness. That's why it's called unselfishness. Little unselfish means little selfish. No selfishness is not unselfishness. To understand the difference. There you know how are you progressing. Are you still working with that unselfishness only? No, you will be. That interim period will be long. Correct. The interim period will be long. Because even if you work for an unselfish ideal, there are others interfering in that no. Yeah. As a result of it, what happens? You are all the time, even an unselfish man remains, even an unselfish person is agitated, disturbed. He also carries the same anger, he also carries the same frustration, he also carries the same irritation. If a selfish man gets agitated in half an hour, no, this man will get agitated in half a day, that's all. But nevertheless, the anger, the frustration, all remains the same. And then they come and ask, why there is no transformation? Why there is no transformation? Where am I? Where am I going wrong? Where am I making a mistake? Where am I making a mistake? He says, go back and do manana, reflection, you will get very angry at the வேற டெக்னிக்கே உங்களுக்கு தெரியல போல இருக்கு சார். அதனாலதான் யூ ஆர் ரிப்பீட்டிங் த அட்லீஸ்ட் வெள்ளையாவது நிறைய டெக்னிக் கொடுக்குறாங்க. அட்லீஸ்ட் அதர் கிவ் சோ மெனி அதர் டெக்னிக்ஸ். ஒன்ஸ் இன் a while they seem to work also. But here it's just not working at all. The interim period, you restrain unintelligent restraint. What can restraint do? He is saying very powerful words. He said, you lack Shraddha, you carp at this knowledge, you will be ruined. Very powerful words to hear from a master like Krishna. The fellow on the roadside will all the time say, the fellow on the roadside, constantly he will keep saying, you will not prosper. You will not prosper. Now, you don't get to hear these kind of statements from a master, but they don't know that language. They don't speak that language. So when they use these kind of words, something is so danger in that. Something is so hidden in that. What is that? You come to this knowledge as a solution. Having come into this knowledge, you don't go to the core of it. You lose the very knowledge itself. Where can you go after that? Therefore, he keeps saying, wake up. Practice it with Shraddha and don't carp at this. If you don't practice it with Shraddha and carp at this knowledge, you will be ruined. And how the ruination happens? In the interim period, by practicing unintelligent restraint. Unintelligent restraint. What can restraint do? No, he says restraint will not help. That doesn't mean he is saying go all out. That's not what he is saying. Let your restraint be guided by the right knowledge, the proper knowledge. So you understand, every time you are agitated, you are frustrated, it is because of selfishness. I tell you, You can't convince yourself of that. It is impossible. It will be so clear that it is always because of the others only. But on practical plane, sir, theoretically knowledge and all is correct. But on a practical plane, what does one do? Whatever you feel like doing, whatever you feel like doing, you do. What else can be done? An almost helpless state for the human being. What can restraint do? It can't do. At the core, even theoretically, if you can convince yourself that you are agitated because of your selfishness. Most of the time you believe that you are agitated because of the other selfishness. That's why, sir, I can't live with selfish people around. See, you can't live with Shankaracharya. You can't live with Ramana Maharshi. You can't live with selfish people around also. No, where can you? No, where can you live? Yeah. So Shankaracharya also will agitate you. Jesus Christ also will agitate you. Buddha also will agitate you. How they agitate you? They say something which is impossible. They set the standard so high that that very standard itself is so. The very standard itself is so agitated. Yeah. That is obsession, sir. That is all obsession. That is not. The standard itself is so high. So, all these great men are agitating, number one. Okay, avangala agitating. At least those who are around you, they are more agitating. Because I can't live with, I can't deal with. What irritates me about others, sir, is their selfishness. They are irritated by you because of what? The same logic. Are you able to follow? You are agitated and frustrated by the other because of their selfishness. So in effect, everybody is independently agitated by their own selfishness. Independently, everybody is agitated by their own selfishness and self-centeredness. Almost impossible to accept this. Almost impossible to agree to this even theoretically. Forget about it, they bringing in about us, forget about it, you wanting to practice and transformation law. You see a corrupt person, sir, how can you not get agitated? Correct, no? When they don't do what they are supposed to do, you get? When knowledge comes and says, this agitation is because of your selfishness, now how can you even? Are you able to follow? How can you even accept this? So it looks like, what they are saying is right, but beyond deeper aspects, they really don't know. That's why the real white man, you start sympathizing after a while. Because he looks like a person who really doesn't know anything. What to do? You follow what I am saying? Correct? Ganesh. How can they not understand what I am saying and you get agitated? No? He is teaching. One person who is incapable of teaching, and he goes around the world teaching. And every time he finishes teaching and comes back, he's not asking. Once he openly confessed in the class, that's why I'm saying this. Otherwise, correct that. And his argument is, how can they not even understand? The sin theta, cos theta, tan theta, engineering student ke puriyalama what to do, sir? I said, ungalke puriyala, who knows? You follow? We have so justifiable reasons for our agitations. We have so justifiable reasons that impossible to talk to that person at that point of time and say it is because of you are agitated because of your selfishness. You are agitated because of your selfishness. Impossible to. When they talk bad about our gods, how can you not get agitated? See, they are getting paid, no, sir. They should do what they are supposed to do, no? And when they don't do that, you will get agitated, no? Vedanta comes in this, you have to put up an act of getting agitated. But deep down, you should not be agitated. But then, you actually get agitated and put up an act of not being agitated. Exactly the ulta. You follow? He says, you have to put up an act as though you are agitated, but deep down you should not be agitated. But then, in reality, what happens? Exactly the opposite. What is the opposite? Deep down you are Deep down you are so agitated, but externally you put up an act of not being agitated. This is what he calls as unintelligent restraint. And it will not help work because your nature will start manifesting. How the nature will manifest? In one bitter thought, in one word, all the venom is split in that one thought and one word. And you won't even know it. And then they come and ask, in fact, India what I can explain better. But still why transformation is not happening. Most of the time, it's so true, people come and say, actually sir, Swamiji kuda sonnadeyadhaan thiruppi sollinga irukkaru. He is repeating the same story, same example, same definition. Beyond the point, you really feel like you know. Huh? What? Correct, say that. What he is going to say? You know that now. You feel like, okay. Go to the core. What is going to the core? What is the core of the knowledge says? Objectivity is putting up an act of getting agitated, but deep down you are not agitated. Unintelligent restraint is reverse. Correct, reverse. You are so agitated, but you put up an act of nature is functioning. Next time when that nature comes back, you get. How long that nature will continue, sir? One day they should also change, But what can restraint do? Almost is given up kind of a statement. Restraint can't do anything. He's not saying that. He's only saying, be aware. In that interim period, Go back and reflect. Go back and reflect. Do manana. Do more manana. Do more manana. What is doing more manana? Going to the core. What is getting to the core? Again and again and again. If you are agitated, it is because of your likes and dislikes. What is wrong with likes and dislikes? What is wrong with likes and dislikes?
Makes me selfish and
At the core, it makes you selfish and self-centered. When I see people hurting others, I feel like shooting them down. They are hurting the other. Looking at that, you want to hurt? So in effect, the violence is still the same. There's no change. This is what he meant by saying your nature will manifest. Able to follow? Protect the animals and kill all human beings. Huh? Either way, killing has to. Either way, the nature of violence is manifesting. Only difference is what? Species? Species changes. But human beings, they are supposed to understand this. Who decided that they are supposed to? Yeah, they are supposed to understand. Their nature will manifest. Of the extraordinary words. Human beings, nature will manifest, and what can restraint do? When he says what can restraint do, he is kind of saying restraint will not help. Unintelligent. Not only that, it comes back with a greater force. Whereas true knowledge, true understanding is supposed to bring about a calmness to a shanti, a calmness, a peace, a bliss to the personality. What can restraint do? Means don't practice this unintelligent restraint. Understand there is an interim period between knowledge and wisdom. During that period, you have to be, whenever these agitations, whenever these frustrations arise, go back and understand it as selfishness inside. When you understand it as a selfishness inside, then you will know how much of hard work it takes to get out of it. Selfishness will not go away so easily. It will gain a backdoor. It will gain a backdoor entry. It will keep coming back again and again and again. Here you understand how difficult it is to get rid of. There you turn sympathetic to your own self and you turn sympathetic towards others also. Once you understand it like this, you will never feel discouraged when your spiritual practices is not showing results. Able to follow? If you understand it like this, you will not feel discouraged when your spiritual practices are not showing. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು assumption you are doing. Your assumption is that you are doing spiritual practice in the assumption. Theoretically, we have to assume. God only knows whether we are actually doing that. Everybody is doing, otherwise we will not keep coming. There is an attempt, but the core has to be strengthened. What is the core? Agitation is because of selfishness. Selfishness is because of likes and dislikes. You understand it like this, you will be more enthused to do the tapas. More enthused means Shraddha will continue. You will not get disillusioned. Shraddha gets strengthened. Shraddha will continue. He is only saying how to keep the Shraddha going. He says, if you don't have Shraddha, you will be ruined. How to do Shraddha? How to continue the Shraddha? Practice intelligent restraint. Whatever be that intelligent restraint is. Don't worry, he is going to say what that intelligent restraint is. Now he is talking about what is that unintelligent restraint. What it will do? What can restraint do now? It can't do anything. 34 padenge.
Indriya-sendriya-syate Raga-dveshau vyavastitau Tayo-navashamagacche Taujasya paripantinau Indriya-sendriya-syate Raga-dveshau vyavastitau Tayo-navashamagacche
Attachment and aversion for the objects of the senses abide in the senses. Let none come under the dominion of these two, for they are one's enemies. Paripanti now. Paripanti now means enemies. What are the enemies? Raga and Dvesha, likes and dislikes. Raga and Dvesha is not because of the sense objects, is not because of the things outside. Sense objects means the outside, the external world. Raga and Dvesha is not because of the external world. Raga and Dvesha is in you. The Raga and Dvesha in you will draw you towards that particular object and being. But it's not because of the object. It is not because of the being. It is because of you. Therefore, what you have to deal with, you have to deal with you. Deal with you means deal with your likes and dislikes. Why? For they are the enemies. 4 times he is going to repeat. In this, the next 5-6 verses, he is going to repeat it 4 times. Paripanti now, Vairinam, Nitya Vairinam, Shatru. All powerful words. Saying likes and dislikes are your enemies. And where are these enemies? The enemies are not sitting outside of you, Arjuna. The enemies are sitting in you, inside of you. Your enemy is inside of you. My enemy is inside of you. I can deal with my enemy. You can deal with your enemy. We can't exchange. Sir, you deal with my enemy and I will deal with. Attachment and aversion for the objects of the senses abide in the senses. Let none come under. He is making it like a universal principle. Let no one be under the influence of these likes and dislikes, because for they are the enemies. Likes and dislikes makes you inconsistent. Why they are the enemies? Number one, likes and dislikes makes you inconsistent. A person who is a victim of likes and dislikes cannot be consistent. That is why we want a 2-day break from work. Inconsistency. For Renal Pichi Tirubana for you follow? He cannot be consistent. Consistent means that attitude where you can be in action all the time. That is consistency. Likes and dislikes makes you inconsistent. But 2 days break done for a 5 days of working is only for just 2 days. Some of the countries productivity is increased so much because they have come to 4 days working, no? And then 3 days working, and then 2 days working, and then don't do any work at all. Artificial intelligence will take care of everything. You can sit inside AC rooms and get sick. And get sick. Mentally sick and physically sick. First thing, likes and dislikes, that it makes you inconsistent. Inconsistent means unreliable. Inconsistency means a person who is inconsistent is unreliable. Imagine every week you have to call and ask, class irukkuda, now what does it mean? Unreliable. Why? Because likes and dislikes makes you inconsistent. Inconsistent means unreliable. You will never know whether that fellow will turn up or not. You follow? That's why it's an enemy. Second thing, likes and dislikes does. Second thing. First thing is inconsistent, unreliable. Both are one and the same. An inconsistent person will be an unreliable person. Why is unreliable? Because he will do only if you like to do. To counter that, it is whether you like it or not, it's your obligation. Are you able to follow? How counter is given for everything. First thing, likes and dislikes makes you is inconsistent, and an inconsistent person is unreliable. Therefore, when you are a victim of likes and dislikes, you become unreliable. That's why we always have a doubt about everybody else. You know why? Because only in Vedanta class reliability is there. They are going to say the same thing, very predictable. Otherwise, everywhere else, there is always a why? Because victim of likes and dislikes makes you inconsistent, and inconsistent person is unreliable. Correct? So much of effort we have to make that person reliable, no? We have to feed him so many things, we have to feed him materially, we have to feed him with titles, we have to feed him with emotions. Still, it is, are you able to follow? Likes and dislikes, inconsistent, unreliable. You one more. How to understand likes and dislikes as your enemies. Second, you become unreasonable. You become unreasonable. How do you become unreasonable? Likes and dislikes brings about expectations, and these expectations are unreasonable. Affectionate cobra. Affectionate cobra. How can cobra be affectionate? It's not a bad cobra, no? You're able to understand the difference? It's not a bad cobra. It doesn't know. It has its own way of affection, which you will not like. Likes and dislikes makes you unreasonable. First thing, it makes you unreliable. Second thing is, it makes you unreasonable. Because of this unreasonable thing, relationships are all going because of what? Likes and dislikes. Third, a person victim of likes and dislikes will not know what mental peace is. Joy and sorrow he will know. Understand the difference? He will know what joy is, he will know what sorrow is, but he will not know what mental peace is. That's why they come and ask. No sir, peace is the happiness, joy you get no. Joy and all I get sometimes, sorrow also I get lot of times, but what I don't get is mental peace. Nalavu. Adi Shankar knows. Bondage, slavery, likes and dislikes. Philosophically, it makes you a slave. What is the slavery, bondage, selfishness? Selfishness is so relishing in the beginning. You really, if only it caused pain in the beginning itself, nobody will be selfish. Paradoxically, selfishness comes with so much of joy in the beginning. You go your way, I go my way. Looks so nice, no? Looks like such a wonderful way of functioning, no? But then third month, third year, the loneliness comes, the frustration comes, the agitation comes. You got it? This is why likes and dislikes are said to be your enemies. Mantra, you can repeat it also. At least I repeat. Selfishness makes you order Lingata. Selfishness makes you straight possible. Likes and dislikes makes you lecture lang கொடுக்க வேண்டாம். Likes and dislikes makes you unreliable. Say that. You will understand how it is an enemy. Inconsistency you looks like kind of, even the word inconsistency also looks like it's okay to have it. Inconsistency leads you to therefore first thing, likes and dislikes makes you unreliable. என்னாலே நம்ப முடியல சார். Can there be anything more suicidal than that? This is what unreliability is. A time comes where you cannot rely upon your own self. Forget about others. That is the point where you have hit the The rock bottom, correct, the rock bottom. You follow? First thing, likes and dislikes. Why they are considered as enemies, why they are called as enemies is because it makes you unreliable. Second thing, it makes you unreasonable. Lecture la mulke kutuko. I explained the steps, but you should know how to put it in like a formula, like a sutra. The Sanskrit word for formula is sutra. Brahma Sutra, he says, no? It's in a concise, precise form. So that when you go back to reflect, you can elaborate it within your own self. Otherwise, you have to follow another man's way of elaboration. In mathematics class, they will give a formula, but everyone will have their own way of elaboration, arriving at the conclusion. No, only when you find that method in you, you can say, I got it. You follow? That's why this knowledge has to be concise as the formula. Selfishness, likes and dislikes, enemies. Not selfishness. Likes and dislikes are enemies. What is it that the likes and dislikes does to you that he is calling it as enemies? In the explanation, he is only saying it as enemy. So it is for you to sit back and reflect. I can say whatever I have reflected upon. Now you can come up with something more also. This is not the end of it. You can come up with something, but it will be circulating around the formulas. What is it? Number one, it makes you unreliable. Number two, makes you unreasonable. Number three, peace of mind will not be there. You can't have likes and dislikes and ask for mental peace. I want to be peaceful, sir. Get rid of your definition. No. Likes and dislikes I will keep, but give me a method by which I can find mental peace, but still keeping likes and dislikes by a diet. And people give so many methods, and everybody is trying all that, because you don't have to get rid of your likes and dislikes, keep the likes and dislikes intact, but something else also can be added to it so that you can find peace. It just doesn't work. How to find mental peace? You ask a drug addict, he will say, nothing Vedanta class, peace is tongue la patta one, sir, hit. You follow? Another man comes, there are so many ways of finding mental peace. The principle is a human being who is a victim of likes and dislikes cannot know what? Joy and sorrow he will know. Understand the difference? Joy and sorrow he will know, but he will not know. Everybody asks, even when they ask, I want to be happy, they are asking for mental peace. You follow? Likes and dislikes will not keep you in, or at least you have to reconcile to what? If I have likes and dislikes, now I will be unreliable, unreasonable, agitated, enslaved, unbound. சின்ன வயசுல சொல்லி கொடுத்துருக்கணும் சார். இப்போ கத்துக்கிட்டா பிரயோஜனம். It doesn't really matter. At any given point of time, you understand likes and dislikes as your enemies, it leaves you. You are the one who is holding on to it. That's what he said. Attachment and aversion for the objects of the senses abide in the senses, not in the object. It's not the object that is keeping the likes and dislikes going. You are the one who's holding on to it. At any point of time, you can let go. You can give up. What will make you to give up? What will convince you to give up if you understand them as enemies? What is it in the likes and dislikes that it is inimical? Mantra Mari, repeat it. Unreliable. But I am a very reliable person, sir. You can rely on me. Sagar will call every 6 months. First I have to find out who he is. Yeah, every 6 months he will call me. Sir? Hariom Anna, Annan Kubrangala, in the number lemon, Kubramatanga. Hariom Anna, I said, yes, Solomon, anything, I am there. I said, first thing I want how to do? I am a very reliable person, sir. Likes and dislikes makes you unreliable. How it is surviving is because everybody is so unreliable that it looks like
No.
Looks like no. Looks like it is the no. இன்னைக்கு அவன் வேலைக்கு வந்தாதான் சார் தெரியும். அது வரைக்கும் we will not know whether they are going to waiting the fellow, the carpenter says, correctா நாளை 9 வரைக்கும் வந்துருவா சார்னா he is not going to come for the next 3 days master. You go there and wait, phone call after phone call, switch starts na unreliable. Likes and dislikes makes you. Next day when he comes, some excuse you will give, but deep down you should understand what you are dealing with. People who are unreliable because they are a victim of their likes and dislikes. Just as
I am also.
அப்படின்னா will feel so insulted about having this likes and dislikes, and you will want to get rid of it. Likes and dislikes makes you சரிங்களா வந்திருக்கலன்னு வெல்கம்க்கு தான் பேசணும். இதுதான் சார் உங்க கிளாஸ்ல நான் வருது இல்லை, வந்தாலும் ஏதாவது சொல்றதா இவன் நெக்ஸ்ட் இயர் ஒன்லி வெல்கம், இங்க இருந்தா கூட he will not come. Second thing, likes and dislikes makes you unreasonable. Makes you unreasonable. How does it make you unreasonable? Your demands, your expectations. What is the root of it? The likes and dislikes. Unreliable, unreasonable. Third is, you will not know what mental peace is. கோயிலுக்கு போன அப்புறம் சார் 10 நிமிஷம் பீஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கு, அதுக்கப்புறம் சார் ஆசிரமம் போனா கூட 2 days தான் சார். தேர்ட் டே வந்து இட்ஸ் நாட் இன் த டெம்பிள், இட்ஸ் நாட் இன் த ஆசிரம், இட்ஸ் நாட் எனிவேர் எல்ஸ், இட் இஸ் இன் யூ. These are all on a practical manifestation level. The first three, unreasonable, unreliable. The core of it is the bondage, the selfishness. Paradoxically, Selfishness is very appealing in the beginning. Paradoxically, selfishness appears to work in the beginning. If selfishness is agitated in the beginning itself, no one can be, no one will be selfish. But it looks very nice in the beginning. So relishing in the beginning, paradoxical it is. Knowledge comes and says, it's paradoxical. Don't fall a victim to this. That's why we need to follow. If selfishness is agitating in the beginning itself, nobody will be selfish. But selfishness is very pleasant in the beginning, very joyful in the beginning. Seems to be the very intelligent way of living. Mind solely protect panni vechindana sir, that's the right thing to do. No, yes. It looks very, and then the very mindness itself brings about so much of fear and agitations and all that. Now you will not know what to do. You follow? Let none come under the dominion of these two, for they are once enemies. What is the enmity in it? Unreliable. Peace of mind irukuma. No peace of mind is okay. He will not know what peace of mind is. 10th time I am repeating. Joy and sorrow he will know. Joy and sorrow he will experience. Both are agitated states of mind. Both are disturbed states of mind. That's why the third thing he asks for. What is it? The peace. Allah tungi enda sir. Peaceful agudilla. What is the peace? The peace of mind not being there. The peace of your personality not being there. That's why sleep gives for all the problems one solution is sleep, no? That is why when we are so agitated that we can't sleep, take in a. Why? Because the absence of personality is what gives the peace. What is the personality? The selfishness, experiencing joy and sorrow. Both are agitated states of the mind, and you want the third. What is it? The peace. And what takes the peace away? Politicians of this country, summer, mother-in-law. What takes the peace away? Likes and whose likes and dislikes? You also solid alone. Whose likes and dislikes? That's why they are considered as enemies. 4 times he repeats. Adanala 4. Suppose he has said 5 times, na? Something fifth one also we will say. 4 times he repeats. Paripanti now. Vairi. Nitya Vairi. Shatru. The deepest is the bondage. The deepest is the bondage. The core is that. So bondage keeps you so bound. And how you got into this bondage? Because it was very nice in the beginning. When someone sends a good night message, so nice it is, no, for the first time. Thinking about you, I slept now. How nice to hear. 3rd month, every day they are telling you the same thing. 3rd month, the number every block pandrathu. How to block this person. So nice in the paradoxical it is. So nice in the beginning, so pleasant in the beginning, so good in the beginning. Looks like the most intelligent way of living and functioning. Turns out to take away your Venki. That's why likes and dislikes are called as your enemies. Let none come under the dominion of it. Vasham. Vasham means mesmerized. What you Manisha said, no? Likes and dislikes has mesmerized you. You are under that spell, correct. That spell. That spell. Sunya Stana, sir. That one is spell. That's a spell, no? And you have no way of getting out. If that fellow says get up now, you will get up. If he says sit down now, you will sit down. If he says go and bang your head against the wall now, you will go on. Who does all that inside you? Who is making you to do all this? Likes and dislikes. And you are under the spell of that likes and dislikes. And the man asks, I want to be free. Free from what? Freedom from these likes and dislikes. Freedom from the spell. The Sanskrit word that he uses is Sayorna Vashamagachet. Vasha means they say, no? He will cast the spell. Likes and dislikes, that's just to you. Why? Because they are your enemies. Yeah. Sorry.